Hello again, this is Cliff McWilliams with Corporatist Nation. Happy to have you here. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happened in the last couple of weeks. Now, Joe Biden, he was not doing very well at all, was he? Not until Super Tuesday, when the DNC forcibly ejected Amy Klobuchar and Petey, so that, their votes would go to Joe Biden. And how interesting is it that Liz Warren, she, despite having only about a 5% rating in the polls and the first primary states that she competed in, she decides she's going to continue in the race and stays in, conveniently after to allow Joe Biden to rack up some wins. Then, of course, we do have the exit polls for South Carolina. And if you look that up a little bit, you'll see that they're exponentially out of whack in favor of Joe Biden. Now, beyond that, let's talk about how this thing really works. Bloomberg. Well, he didn't do very much, did he? Despite spending $500 million. But that's not where the money is. The money is on preventing Bernie Sanders from being the Democratic nominee. Because you see, the donor class, they don't really care who is president, just so long as the president that is in the White House is unlikely to change much of anything that affects them. Now, Trump gave, we'll say the donor class mostly, about 87% of $1 trillion tax cut went to corporations in the donor class. So the donor class, in this instance, their only concern was stopping Bernie Sanders. And they don't really care who wins. And quite frankly, Joe Biden is not going to win. We're going to see that quite clearly when, provided he shows up, of course, Joe Biden stands toe-to-toe with Bernie Sanders. Now, we've seen Joe Biden, and Joe Biden clearly is not what Joe Biden used to be, say, even 5 years ago. It's clearly visible for all to see that he was not having to stutter or otherwise be of concern with regard to his mental acuity. But now we see him running for the U.S. Senate. Can't remember the opening words of the Declaration of Independence. It goes on and on. And of course, the lying doesn't help either. That's another story altogether. But all this is remarkably available for anyone who cares to spend 5-10 minutes looking for it on YouTube. It's just all there, sometimes collated in one video, all kinds of evidence that shows Joe Biden is someone who is a little worse than just mild dementia. I wonder who balances the checkbooks in Joe Biden's house. I'm going to guess it's probably Jill, right? But let's get down to brass tacks. The donor class is in charge because we do have a corporatist nation, a nation whereby our electoral system operates purely on picking people who are willing to, quote, play ball. And anyone who's heard me talked about when I was running for Congress and I got the offer from the pharmaceutical industry lobbyist who said, Cliff, if you're willing to work with, play ball with the pharmaceutical industry, we'll get you all the contributions you need. Well, that's about all you really need to hear, and that's how it works, and that's why Amy Klobuchar and Petey dropped out. They were forcibly ejected with threat of political careers completely going down the tubes if they don't play ball with the powers that be, get out of there so that Bernie Sanders doesn't rack up a few more wins and take out Joe Biden to become the Democratic nominee, and then beat Donald Trump. As it stands with Joe Biden in there, nobody's coming out to vote for Joe Biden. Older folks, yeah, but that's going to be the end of it. Joe Biden will lose going away. And the donor class, they just don't care. So I suggest that people wake up and in the remaining states vote for Bernie Sanders, especially after see him leave Joe Biden. Joe Biden, who has dementia, writhing on the floor. It's going to be interesting to see the moderators trying to save Joe Biden all night long. They're going to wear themselves out. So once again, this is how it works. And this is Cliff McWilliams from Corporatist Nation, because that is what we have. A fascist state that meets all the criteria. And I'll put that link in the video so you can go look at the 14 characteristics that define a fascist state. And number 6 on the list is a controlled mass media. And that's another video altogether just on the controlled mass media. So once again, this is a Corporatist Nation, and I'm Cliff Williams, and happy to bring some straight talk to you. Thanks a lot, and please wise up. Vote Bernie Sanders. Hopefully you're not using touchscreen voting machines.